All right, good evening, everybody. It's a PodBrother here. Some of you know me as Steve Kimbrough. Some of you know me as, hey, stop, that guy's got my wallet. And but tonight, I'm the PodBrother, and I have an incredible show because I have some remarkable talent and some serious personalities and the intellect that's sitting in my chairs right now. The brain power in the asses that are on my director's chairs right now is pretty intense, and I want to bring it to you. We're going to be funny, we're going to talk, we're going to be sexy, we're going to be flirty. There might even be some pig fucking at the end of the show. I have no, because I'm with comics, and you never know what you're going to get when you got comics on your show, especially when they're sexually open, is all I'm saying, like me. Who do we have? We got, oh my God, we got CJ, we got Al, and we got Lana. You could not have a better podcast than that.
Wow, well, thank you.
That's very nice.
Holy shit, am I lucky tonight. Happy International Podcast Day.
Oh, thank you. Yes, it is.
Is that today?
That's today, yeah.
Today. No, it was an international holiday.
It is well, I don't know if it's a holiday, but it's an international day.
Wow. Who declared this as Podcast Day?
Well, it's amazing how big podcasting has become over the last, even half a dozen years. It's like a monster.
Yeah, I knew nothing about, I knew about it, but I didn't take it serious until I started working at the John Lovitz Podcast Theater, which is where I met you. Mm-hmm. And I was doing 3D at the John Lovitz Podcast, and I saw Kevin Smith doing podcasts, and Adam Carolla and Frank and Heidi, and they had millions of followers, doing monthly subscriptions, and they're making bank, they're having fun, they're doing a podcast in front of a live audience. I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to do that.
Well, you were doing it anyways without all the equipment. You were just hanging out with comedians. So you said, wait a minute.
Just turn on the microphone.
Let's put this put the microphone on.
That's how it was. Like, after because I met you in Boston,
right.
and we would go after the sets, man. Everybody would meet at Dominic's, and it was just like open podcasts.
The Blair Witch Project of Paul.
We're talking about jokes that works, jokes that didn't work.
Yeah, talking about the biz, the craft, whining, bitching, moaning.
Hookups after the show.
Hookups after the show.
Sick burns.
Whoop, 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 pig fucking. Squeal like a pig, boy. Let go, my daddy. I'm sorry, I had a flashback. I'm all right now.
Were you the daddy or were you the boy? I
ain't saying. Depends on the holiday.
Oh, man. Let's start with you, because you, dude, from day one, you had my ass cracking up when I first saw your show.
Please explain to the listeners.
Okay, so, all right. So I'm doing comedy in Chicago, and my manager says, I want to move to New York. And she says, no, you should move to Boston, because Boston is really hot right now with the comedy scene and the colleges. You'll make a shitload of money. So I'm like, yeah, but they're a little bit racist. It's like, don't worry about it.
Just a little bit.
You're funny. Oh, the busing thing is over. It's okay. You'll be fine. So I believed her. And so I packed up my stuff and moved to Boston. And I went into the Comedy Connection just to kind of scope it out, be a fly on the wall. And I saw you, Tony V, Steve Sweeney, Lenny Clark,
right,
Vinny Favorito. And I was like, holy shit.
That was a typical
The quality of comedy here is high. And I was just like, oh shit, the sock puppets and the shadow shit ain't gonna work on this. I'm like, I'm like, these guys are doing like smart, provocative,
thanks for throwing me in the mix. I may have been on the lineup, but those other guys you mentioned, those were the big guns of the Boston comedy heyday, certainly.
I was like, holy shit. And it was like this.
Yeah, pow, 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 pow. Yeah.
Like set up, punch, laugh, set up, punch, laugh. And
LPMs, laugh per minute. Those guys had more laughs per minute. Yeah.
It was intense, So it made me like really edit my setups because I had 5-minute setups for a punch that barely paid off to fill time thinking I was doing something. And then I went to Boston. I saw you guys, and I was like, oh,
trim the fat.
trim the fat real quick.
Get out the fillet knife. You got some trimming to do.
But your show, especially because with the voices and your whole boyish face, and
boyish face,
you didn't. There's just things that you said you just didn't expect.
Where's the? You got 3 cameras here. Yeah, I'm
like,
still doing the
dude
3D
is funny.
effect. I do the 3D effect. I give you the boyish face. I give you the characters and that's why I'm doing some voiceover stuff now. Well, I've always been doing voiceover stuff, but I just landed. I'm going to toot my own horn. I just landed a voiceover gig on F is for Family on Netflix. Bill Burr's.
Yes, Bill Burr. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
That's awesome.
So I'm very excited about that. I kind of went in for I thought it was a one-time deal.
Well, you know Bill. You worked with him in Boston back in the day, right?
I'm a cast member. It's kind of cool.
Didn't you work with Bill back in Boston?
Oh, yeah. Back in the day. Yep.
Yeah.
Billy and I did a couple of those road gigs here and there for
Sure.
about 7 years.
Yeah, I worked with him for a couple of gigs, but it wasn't like we were buddies like you guys. We weren't comic bros.
He was kind of the next generation that was coming in, so we considered ourselves green at the time, but when those guys came in, it gave us a bump.
Yeah.
Because they came in 2 or 3 years after us.
Yep.
And so myself, Greg Fitzsimmons, Tom Cotter, we felt like we were veterans around these guys. But they came up the ranks quick. Billy stood out clearly. Justin McKinney, another guy, and a few others. But, we all started hanging out late night after our gigs and talking shop.
You know, that was some of the best comedy years I've ever had since, because that was back before the comedy bubble popped.
Mm-hmm.
And a no-name, no headliner. I was a strong closer, but I wasn't I had no TV credits, no film credits, no radio shows. I was making like $200,000, $300,000 a year.
It was nuts.
Wow.
Yeah, cash. Yeah, because I was doing, and you guys were busting my fucking balls about doing cruise ships. Like, all of a sudden, everybody's doing cruise ships. Ooh, look, we're doing cruise ships. I'm like, look at these fuckers. They're doing cruise ships. When I was doing cruise ships, like, yo, fucking doing
Oh, they
cruise
called
ships.
you a boat act back in the
Yeah,
day.
a
But it
boat
was
act.
also a well-kept secret because the cruise ships still pay better than the comedy clubs now. But back then, they were paying crazy money.
Stupid money.
Because they couldn't get anybody to go out there because it was a stigma. But the guys that were doing it, like yourself, you kept it after a while. You're like, oh, I'm just going to keep this to myself because there's only like 7 of us doing it. We're making a killing.
Yeah, it's like, wait a minute. Kimbrough's the only comic in Boston that has a cell phone, at $3,000 a minute. Like, what's up with that? Like, where you getting that kind of money? You're not even a headliner.
Like that job would suck to begin with, Hey, where do you work? Cruise ship, where do you work?
But I also was working the air
office.
shows too, and the air shows was a shitload of money. Yeah, I was making like $3,000 and $4,000 for the air shows.
Oh, right.
Yeah, the airplanes.
Yeah.
And so you'd see me in a club, and then you wouldn't see me for like 3 or 4 weeks, and people were like, where you
Usually
been?
cleaning up. We were running around doing our $25 spots.
Well,
This Kimbrough. There he goes, first class.
I was just happy to have a passport, man. But I really, really enjoyed working with you, and one of the things that sticks out with me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me pull my fly up. I'm sorry. What sticks out?
What sticks out with me about the Boston comedy scene was softball.
Oh, yes.
We played softball every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon religiously.
Mm-hmm. That was hard at noon for comics who were getting home at 5 a.m., but we did it.
We did it. And I don't know if they even still do it. Do you know that
I have
culture?
no idea. Yeah. It was we actually repeated that in New York when I moved to New York. They were doing it there as well with Gotham Comedy. And in the Comic Strip Live, they were doing it. But it was great, wasn't it?
Oh, man, loved it. And you got a lot of gigs when you came out, because a lot of time, like Anthony Clark would get picked up for like a movie or a TV show, and he'd be like, hey, Kimbrough, can you do this gig for me? And I'd be like, yeah, sure. And this is like, how much to pay? And it'd be like Anthony Clark money. I'd be like, oh, snap.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah, thanks for looking out, bro.
Yeah.
This is amazing. These
This
stories,
is awesome.
these
The trickle
stories
down.
are amazing. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. We had some good times.
I mean,
yeah.
to make
It
that
was.
kind of money.
Oh yeah,
No,
but well, there's the abyss. There's in stand-up comedy. There's the money way down here, and you're trying to get that. Then there's a couple of things you can leap for, and then there's this huge gap of we don't know what it is, and then but there's people in it.
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
you don't know who they are,
Yeah.
and they're not famous, but all of a sudden, how many houses do you have? And then there's the famous people. So we just
Yeah.
want to get in that black area of what's out here, and how do we get a piece of that?
Yeah. And it was really a good time for me. It really was hard to go to New York, and I wanted to go to New York before I went to Boston, but it was time for me to go to New York.
Yeah.
And it was really hard to leave that scene.
Yeah,
because I
it's
left.
spoiled.
I think I left a little bit too soon. I think I left. I should have stayed there probably another year.
I left, came back, and left again. So, I was
Yeah.
spoiled, and then I had to start over again in New York. I got beat up pretty badly. Went back with my tail between my legs.
Yeah, I
got my
got
courage up again and went back.
I got beat up, but I opened up a comedy club, and that was good for me. That made New York.
Well, you had your stage time.
Yeah, I had stage time. I was making a little bit of money, but more importantly, like comedy club owners in New York got favors from other restaurants and clubs in New York. So my money was no good anywhere, and I did a trade with a limousine company out of Brooklyn. And all I had to do was tip the driver. So I'm tooling around Manhattan every night in a limo. And this was back when...
See, he got a part of that Abyss area.
Yeah.
He got a taste of it.
This was when they very first stretched an SUV.
Right.
The Lexus SUV, they stretched it. That was the first company, Extravaganza Limousines out of Brooklyn. By the way, those dudes was like...
Yeah. Yeah.
And one night they came in and they were like, "Hey, can we use your club? We got a meeting." I'm like, "Hey, no problem.
Absolutely.
No
Everybody
problem.
out.
Everybody out. Let's go. We got a meeting."
Absolutely.
But I would get
Absolutely.
like such a hookup because people would be like, "Hey, Kimbrough, we got some people here. We want to, send them to your club, and can you send a limo?" And I'd be like, "Yeah." So I'd call up my guys and I said, "Just make sure they tip the driver," and they'd send over a stretch like Lexus, pick them up, bring them back to the club, and then the next time I went into the restaurant, whatever you want, steaks, dinner, champagne, wine.
You were a part of the circuit, man. You were deep.
And I had about 100 hookups like that. And so people would come to visit me and they'd be like, "How are we getting all this stuff? I saw the club. There's 20 people in it at $10 a pop. How are we doing a limo, steaks, champagne, and we do the velvet rope, and it's a $50 cover, and we do the after party? Like, come on, man. You selling crack on the side? 'Cause I've been having it. Everything. This is $1,000 night, man. It's like,
right.
What?
I look great, right?
I get the feeling, though, Kimbrough, you always know how to work magic. Because look where we're sitting right now. I mean, this is like
they can't see the view behind us.
Yeah,
Earlier, could you when you
could. Earlier you could see.
Right now, we're looking at the entire San Fernando
you
Valley.
just know how to work it.
Are we looking right now? What is that main drag right there?
That is that's Van Nuys.
That's Van Nuys right there.
That's Van Nuys, yep.
It is just
Van Nuys
spectacular.
Boulevard.
It's one of those picture postcards that you see of the valley from 300 feet above the valley. It's
a cool spot.
I just get the vibe that you know how to work it, no matter what you're doing.
Relationships is the most valuable thing to me.
Yeah.
Put a fountain and a pool.
I may not have a lot of money all the time, but I like to keep my friends for life.
Like, okay, this looks good.
Bob's one of those guys that he's totally gonna be like friends for life. He's just been like such a cool dude. Let me do my podcast here at his pool deck with this fabulous view.
He's an amazing host, I have to say.
He's a super cool dude, man. That guy is no joke.
You know what I love when they're that successful that they're not.
Eat that microphone for me.
Sorry. I like it when they're not like nervous chihuahuas. When you're so successful, you're at the top of the cliff here and you're not even nervous. You can talk business and it's not like, well, I've got to get that copyright first, or that's my idea. It's a whole different level.
Yeah, he's
the coolest people.
Super chill. And I like to run down like how we met with my guest too.
Okay.
So let's go with Lahna.
How we met.
Yes.
Kimbrough.
Yeah. How we met. I was working at John Lovett's Podcast Theater doing 3D, and you came in and you had a packed house and you did your set, and I was like, first of all, she's really hot and she's very sexy, and then it's like, oh man, she's married, and then it's like, oh, she's married to Ralphie, man, and then I'm like, oh, okay, but I still love her. She's funny,
all those things,
and I'm like, but you know how it is, like comedy sometimes can just cancel out any other shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could be You could be the worst at. You could put puppies in a blender, but if your set is something that you're like, wow, that
Bill
was.
Cosby could still sell tickets. There's
Could
no
still sell
question.
yeah.
He could pack it out.
There's some about like somebody's comedy that you go, I don't really care what they do or did.
Wait, what did I do? I never put puppies in a blender. What the hell?
I know you didn't, but you're married to like, you know.
I do have the puppies in the blender image in my
Yes.
head.
So
To something, I was married to was the equivalent of puppies in the blender.
yeah, but I'm just saying, like there's things where that makes you walk away. Like there's
Explain that to me. I want to understand.
okay, so single guys who see like a hot chick on stage and find out they're married, it's a walk away scenario because you're married. But then if there's something that is a common denominator that you have admiration for that transcends the walk away element, then it pulls you back, and then that attraction becomes something that is a little bit more intense. So being a comedian and understanding like what it takes to get to where you were at that time with your show and to rock that crowd, it canceled out the fact that you were married to a guy who's in the industry. And I just was like, I had that admiration. It's just like your wife. I love your wife like probably more than you do.
Test 1, 2. Are you getting all this? Move in. Take the shot.
No.
Take the shot.
Is your wife in stand-up?
Yes,
Yeah.
her name is Bernadette Pauley, and we met. We fell in love in a hopeless place, the Comic Strip Live in New York. But yeah.
Well, she used to work out at My Laugh is Hope in New York, and that's how I met her. And she came in and she killed the room, killed it. I was like, oh snap! I don't know who you are. Your married boyfriend? I think this is before she met you.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, I'm her biggest fan. She's like, she's like forever in my lifetime book of like, all right, she's done.
When I first saw her off stage, I was attracted to her physically, and then I saw her on stage kill it at the club, and then I had this whole different, like you said, admiration for her. I could separate the two. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And said, okay, she's funny, and
Yeah.
she's attractive.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm single now, so I'm always really confused on how men view female comedians. Like, you're comics, so I mean, you're going to have the professional respect. But I wonder now how, not the average guy, but just a nice guy in the crowd that would see a woman and think she was attractive and then see her on stage, and would that be...
Well,
Would
you
that
know,
blow
that
it?
causes
Well,
a
I mean,
bit
would that
of
be a
ED later
disadvantage?
on.
I don't know. I don't know
well,
how that works out.
If the person of interest has no power or no perception of power on themselves, or no vision of possible power in the future, they would have a problem with you.
Power?
I got a question. I just have to ask. So you met your wife before you saw her act. That's right?
I did.
Okay, and so you were attracted to her physically, hot. I get that picture.
Mhm.
Then you saw her up on stage, and she killed it.
Mhm.
Your words, right? Did you have that moment where you thought, because to me the first thing that comes to mind is when I started making more money than my husband, there was a little what in
Yeah.
our relationship, you
Sure,
know?
sure, especially
So
for
I
a
kinda
man.
wonder, especially with a comedian. I mean,
Yeah.
dang, you know, I can't even
Yeah,
imagine
there is that element, but here's the thing. It depends on where you are with your state of mind. Like, I would love to be a kept man. As a matter of fact, I'm striving for that.
So would my
So
husband.
all my wife's success, keep going, baby. Just keep going.
Do
Keep
it, baby,
going.
do it.
Rock that cheddar, baby.
She's had a couple of TV gigs where I was like, "This is awesome."
I love it.
Steve's driving Steve's driving the limo.
You should
I-
want
and
your
I-
partner
and I
to be
would.
successful.
It would be a podcast limo, but I would be driving.
In the industry, there are so many
But
people.
a lot
that
of
have
people,
neuroses
no, you
of
know
some
what?
sort.
A lot
no.
of people do not want to see their significant other be successful, which is sad.
That is sad, and
So I'm
that's-
really happy
It's
that's
very true. It's I'm very aware of that, and the competitive thing
yeah.
is very apparent. I don't think we have the bad elements of that. I think we have the good elements of being competitive or trying to get the other person. It's a cheerleading thing, you know.
I think it would be an ideal
Well-
situation because then you could take your home to work instead of your work to home. You know, you just
Well,
bring
what-
it that way.
Well, the thing is like what I know about both of you, since I know you both before you met each other, is you both bring to the table incredible, comfortable in your own skin, and you bring confidence in what you do, and you're not looking for a project to make you feel empowered, and yet you're not also looking for someone to like be their project. And when you have two people that come together like that, then you're not going to have those insecurities that come in when it comes to making money or someone gets a show, because number one, you're both comfortable in your own skin. Number two, you're both tried and true before you met each other in what you do, and you're marketable. So any one of you can make whatever the money you want to make.
Do I have to give him for this?
I think he told me the rate was.
I'm just saying.
No, that's very nice.
Being my own observation.
Oh, thank you.
And I got that observation from working on cruise ships and just studying people and sitting down and talking to couples, and it would be, she's the money, and it's like that insecurity, security, but it's all based on who makes the money. And then another couple come, he makes the money, but it's the exact same scenario. It's just flipped. And when you see that often enough, when a couple comes in and they're both comfortable in their own skin, and they both bring whatever they bring to the table, that confidence and that security, it's butter. And that's what you and Bernie have.
We have butter. What's a stick of butter between two people, right?
I'm just saying.
How has that butter been out? Like, how long have you guys been together?
My joke I do in my act is not accurate, but I say we've been married for 8 years, only 2 more to go. It's actually, we just celebrated our 13th anniversary.
Oh, congratulations!
So, thanks,
Nice.
thanks so much. Yeah, so we've had some rough times and some rough years. We had a couple of years where we didn't even feel like we were in a relationship at one point, but we've gotten through all that, and we're bigger and stronger and better than before.
But when I saw you guys were together, I thought, oh, this is a cool hookup. This is like a cool couple. Like, it made sense to me.
Okay, thank you for seeing that.
Because I knew you,
yeah.
and I knew her, and I was just like, okay, this is definitely going to work.
We had both
and you look good together, and your comedy is very complimentary to each other.
I'll tell you what, it's funny you should mention that, because when we do work together, if I'm following her, I got to be on my game, man. You're saying complimentary. I can't mail it in. I got to be, because she's raising the bar, so I gotta have it, my shit together. Can I say shit?
Yeah, you can.
I'm gonna have my shit together.
We said pigs fucking earlier,
okay.
so we
have rules here. We have rules.
So I don't think it's working out.
That's cool. So Lahna, what are you looking for? I mean, are you looking for maybe a guy who can
a person,
who's just gonna just love you and worship you and
I just want to be loved, Kimbrough.
Right.
And worship. Like, I want to be loved.
I like Kimbrough after.
Well, I love you and I worship you.
Treat it with kindness and respect and all this stuff that you're supposed to. Not too much respect. Let's not get crazy.
I know your act, so I understand.
Right, and not too kind, because I'm way too codependent. So I definitely wouldn't know how to deal with that. I don't know. I'm not single yet. Like, it's a whole big. I'm going to say a clusterfuck of shit that I'm dealing with, but I'll get there.
This is all fresh. This is all going on.
It's not fresh. It's been going on for years.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's still going on.
I'm sorry to hear
This
that.
is future material stuff, but we're not there
Absolutely.
yet.
No, it's going to be okay. It's all going to be okay.
I didn't mean to say everything was hunky-dory. I was just trying to...
Everything is hunky-dory, though, actually. It's actually very good. My life is good.
Okay.
Like, I'm solid. I've got 2 beautiful children.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, and I'm a mom first. And I'm a mom comic, which, a single mom. 100% single mom.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's commendable. That's
but
great.
the fact that you're cranking so hard with all your creatives tells me that you're 100% okay.
Dude, I have to work so
100%.
hard. I have to figure out how to support myself and 2 children. I have to figure this out fast, and it's terrifying. I'm so scared all the time, and that fear lights a fire under me every single day. So I'm just trying to figure it out. Like, I've got a lot of projects and a lot of things that I'm working, and I've got some good stuff happening.
Yeah, no, you do.
That's your creative fuel.
Yeah,
it's been,
you do.
Yeah.
You do.
So I'm like really trying to figure out social media, because in our business, we're talking the reason why Pig Fucker came up is because it's all about draw. Like, if you can draw to the venue, then you can make a living. Right now, I'm I can deliver in the clubs. I know I can bring it, but the amount of money that I make currently, I have to pay somebody to watch my kids. So it's really hard to leave town. So I'm really focused on figuring out how to be the best pig that people want to see fuck on stage.
Oh my God.
That's
Very
what
well
it
put.
is.
Very well put, Lana.
I want to be that pig.
That's profound. I like that.
It is on some level.
So listen,
that's what we need, though, right?
You kids,
in our business.
if you want to make money, you got to be the best pig fucker in town.
That's right. That's right.
You kids.
I mean, it's so hard because that's our business, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Because we all got the show. We got the show down. It's the business part that is tricky.
It's like social media. It's like, wait a minute, how's that fucker who set himself on fire get 30 million views, and I'm doing like creative, clever shit with like awesome people? I got 10.
Right.
That's bullshit.
But I don't begrudge that.
What do we pay for? Somebody who's got worse shit than us.
Well,
Come on.
You know what? I don't
The bigger the
begrudge
train
that.
wreck, the bigger the draw.
That person will get the ticket. They'll sell tickets 1 or 2 times through town. But we all want to be. This is one thing I always think about with the business too. Is like, there's no expiration in comedy. Like, I know everybody.
George Burns, 100 years.
Exactly. So, eventually that fire you'll light that fire, and it will happen because you're in it a long time and you're
My
super
tribe is out
talented.
there somewhere, as is yours.
Yeah.
And yours. And yours.
Sort of.
We'll talk about family roots someday.
So where did you guys meet, though?
We met at the 48-hour film
Oh yeah, we did.
on the red carpet. Yeah.
My first premiere in filmmaking. Actually, that was.
And I was sponsoring the red carpet, and I was doing interviews, and her whole team came up, and I was interviewing them, and she kind of stuck out of the crowd, being like 6'8".
So what's really funny was not that night, but when and I'm just gonna tell him right about the day I met Amy Arrow.
Oh,
First
okay.
podcast. So I just met him, and I'm thinking, we called, and we know we want to talk business, and there's some stuff there about comedy and trying to figure out what the filming and whatnot. And so he says, hey, why don't you come by and check out my podcast? I've got a good guest coming, Amy Arrow. She's got an amazing voice. You really got to come and check this out. And I'm like, yeah, okay, sounds good, right? So this is right after there was a fire in his studio. I don't know who knows about that. So we had some fire damage there. And so this is my first time in LA, right, coming to a podcast. I'm all excited because I'm from Podunk Town, nowhere. And so I'm there. He goes in the other room. Amy comes in, and she starts taking her clothes off.
He
comes out.
I was invited on that
naked,
podcast.
And I'm like,
it was a naked podcast.
all right then.
Really?
This is different. And they look at me. They're like,
Just
would you
the
like
two
to
of you
take these off? I'm
alone?
like, no, I love you guys.
Talking
Yeah.
naked?
Yeah.
No, I wasn't uncomfortable at all. No, thank you for asking.
See, I didn't get that invite.
And I
Well, it's how I set the bar for my new chicks who want to be involved in my enterprise. If you could sit in my living room in a smoke-damaged studio with me naked interviewing a naked woman for the Naked Podcast, and I know I can do business
and
with
she's
you.
amazing. I want to say it wasn't what it looked like kind of thing. First of all, she's smoking hot. She's gorgeous. No, I'm not gay. I've been married 24 years. I'm very happy though.
No, she was awesome. She was
She's
very, very,
beautiful,
very good.
But
She
she
was very
isn't.
good.
It isn't what you think. She's not like, look at my body. She's like, you know what? This is my body. It's beautiful. I worked on it, and she's got a very healthy message and a very healthy outlook. But it was something walking into a burnt-out building for a podcast. She's naked. She comes in and she's just,
Everybody's clothes burned
we
off.
got to start in 5 minutes. So she's just dropping her clothes, and he
It's
walks
like,
out.
where your damn
podcast
clothes?
naked. Nobody told me what was happening, Kimbrough. I'm just
Well,
like,
you wouldn't have shown up.
I'm full of surprises.
So did you have to do naked podcast with him?
No, she
No,
didn't.
I was invited to if I felt like it, but I didn't want to damage the ratings.
Oh.
I didn't, because me with clothes. Hey, I'm not too bad, but me without clothes is beautiful. It's like a melting candle, baby,
Oh.
from all the weight loss. And I don't mind, but you wouldn't sit there next to Amy Arrow looking like that, would you? I wouldn't. Like, no.
Well, it was one of those things where I
Just
kind of
gorgeous.
scheduled it a little bit too tight, and the podcast went longer
Pun
than.
intended, yes.
So I had hoped to be done with the podcast before CJ got there, but it just
Gotcha.
LA traffic is.
sometimes
so
you
predictable.
just you're not on schedule.
Sometimes
But
you
that's
run
funny.
over.
but that's okay. But that's how we met. She
Trial by fire,
48,
man.
She came back.
and she her first meeting was my Naked Podcast with Amy Arrow.
Now, I've performed in front of a nudist crowd. I've done
Were you
that.
nude?
I
I
did
was
that.
fully clothed.
I did nudist comedy nude.
I did it as
Little
well.
guy
did.
does
Yeah.
I did.
So you had to
3
top
Yeah,
me.
I
You
did
had
it.
to- she had to top
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I was very, very nervous. In fact, I had a panic attack before I did it the first time. I was in the bathroom literally hyperventilating before I had to go on stage. So scared. But it was a really liberating thing to do, to perform nude.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they asked me, I'm like, dude, I'm not going to get nude in front of total strangers because I'm just modest that way. But they said, no, you got to be fully clothed. I said, how much does it pay?
Is there more if I take it out? But it's got to be different. Come on, for being a nudist comedy act, it's just got to be different for a guy, for a girl. Girl, you get laughs, you're like, okay, so that was fun. Guy, you get laughs, you're like, I don't know how to feel about this. You know?
Oh,
It's
it's weird because the people who are there, they're naturalists. They're not.
I totally get
it's.
that.
I don't really understand what the upside is for them being naked watching a comedy show. I don't wrap my mind around why that. But it was interesting.
Well,
sells
it's.
tickets.
I mean,
different.
there are events that you go to get dressed up.
Right, so you go there to get naked.
So there's events where you go to get naked. It's the same thing. It's like, you know.
The personal expression, the freedom of personal expression is a beautiful thing.
Yes, without a doubt. I mean, I'm not judging it. I was happy to do it, but I just felt like
You went back 3 times. I mean,
Right.
Well, I did it. No, I did it
after that.
one weekend. It was 2 shows in the same venue. I was the headliner, so I was
The
hired
headliner.
for the weekend. Yeah, and then about
The aristocrats.
Next.
yeah, it was.
At least it wasn't hair, okay?
Well,
Okay, no
it was
comment.
catered. They catered
And
the
they
event.
catered?
Yes, by Subway, not the place you want a foot long. Right? Yeah,
What kind of sauce do you want?
Oh, wow.
gnarly.
She said it.
Well, at least
That's what
it could have been
they
catered by
also-
In-N-Out Burger.
You know what's
so.
funny? They also had Jello shots. It's like, there's enough jiggling. The second one though that I did was like a year later, and the guy had gotten my name because he knew that I'd done the other event. And when he called me, I was like, "Look, I don't want to be in the roster of people that you think of when hey, she does nudist comedy." But I agreed to do it because it was a different venue and it was a different kind of thing, and it was really, really cool. I'm really glad I did that one too. But then he called me again a year later, and I said, I don't want to be that comic. So I said, look, if you're ever in a really bad bind and you absolutely need somebody, I'll help you out. But unless otherwise, I'll be your last resort because I really don't want to keep.
Interesting, though, that
Yeah.
you did experience.
So what you're
it.
saying is you wouldn't be on my nude podcast if I resurrected my nude podcast. You wouldn't come and be a
Well,
guest.
when you say nude podcast, you actually see everything, or do you?
No, I put the AmyArrows.com over her breast.
Oh.
And I put the
I
PodBrother.com
don't know.
over my junk, but you could see like we were naked
No.
behind
no.
the logos. But
I don't think so. I don't.
we
think
weren't
so.
like, I mean, we were naked,
Right.
but
But nobody else sees, but you see. so
we
you-
see, yeah.
I don't see the purpose in it for me and you to sit around naked, and we'd still be honest.
Damn.
You know how many views you
Nice
get?
try,
God, how am I
How
going to
many-
get this girl naked, Al?
many downloads?
What I got to do?
Well, Larry, here's a
Well,
question.
there's a pool right there. You say,
I-
come on over and do my podcast.
Let's get naked.
It's the underwater pool podcast.
I'm debating this. So I've taken pictures that are pretty exposed. I like what you said about your friend being proud of their body. I'm really into being like that sex positive. I'm a woman. I've had kids, and I can look good. And I want to. And I'm very insecure. So it's a big step, but it's helpful to go there. But I wrote a movie, and it's the same one we talked about a few podcasts ago. That it's still in pre-production, and there's a scene in it where I have the option, and I wrote the script to be topless, and I have other actresses in the script that are topless. So I don't know. It would be a really quick shot, but I've been debating it out in my mind whether I would actually do that or not. I don't know yet. It depends on. I don't know.
Well, you can always have the stand-in. Because I do a lot of
Yeah.
bare-breasted
else?
stand-in work for women.
Yes, you want
That's
to
how
be my
proud I am
boobs?
about my chest.
Because you got the man boobs.
I got the man boobs.
You can pull it off.
Lots
I
of
like
cheese,
slightly
lots of
hair.
milk,
Little,
and
is
ice
there
cream.
hair around your nipples? Because we
I
need
got
to match.
yes, as my friend Tom Cotter would say, so babies can floss.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm more like the stunt penis. That's where I come in.
Oh, will you be my stunt penis?
I'm the
I'll
stump.
be your stump
I'm the
penis.
stump penis.
I
They'll
need
be
to-
like, okay, get the actor out. Okay, stump it, Kimbrough, you're in.
We did notice that Kimbrough had the big, when we had the.
Yeah, we got the little.
Yes.
It was a thing.
Here's your
microphone, Al.
The black Mike
I
phallic.
hadn't noticed, but I'm
So
glad
that.
you pointed that out.
You're right. It was,
Now I feel so
How come
inferior.
you're freeze framed over here?
Oh, that's because my laptop here is like maybe sleeping a little bit.
Oh.
But
So
listen,
everybody can see that.
we're gonna have to wrap this up because it's 8:00. I told Bob
Oh.
I would do this until like 8.
Oh yeah, I
And
gotta
I know you guys got stuff to do.
stuff to do.
So
I gotta go down the hill.
So real quick, where can we find you? What do you got going on? And we'll just take it down the line.
Well, as you know, right, I stay introverted until I actually have something worth doing, or until somebody calls me and says, "Hey, let's do this," and I'm like, "Yeah, let's do that." So, easiest way to get hold of me is through whiteelephantrodeo@gmail.com. My phone number is useless because I keep it turned off unless I want to use it. I'm horrible, I tell you. But I also have a website that I play with, right? It's called mybeing.co. So it's just My Being, a company online, because it's a great way to write off your taxes. I'm learning about that now. So we'll
Nice.
talk later.
That's cool.
Single
Right.
mom who needs to make some money, we'll talk.
Oh.
Al, what you got, man? Where can we find you?
At Stand Up Al. That's on Instagram and Twitter. AlDucharme.com. You'll never be able to spell
I
it,
was
so
gonna say.
go to Stand Up Al. It makes life so much easier. I don't know. We're streaming live tonight. I'll be at the Laugh Factory here in Hollywood for the 11:30 show. And listen to me on season 3 of F is for Family on Netflix.
Awesome.
so
Love
cool.
that show.
Who's your character on that, so we can?
Well, Anthony is the main character, but I do other voices and some animals as well.
We're
Nice.
looking for that.
Nice. When you see Bill, tell him the PodBrother say what's up.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
for sure. Lahna, baby.
It's really easy. It's just my name on all my social media handles. LAHNA Turner TURNER.
Awesome.
So you can find me online. I'm pretty active on social media now.
and then you're going to be in Vegas on the 19th?
On October 19th.
Yeah.
Next
okay.
month on the 19th, I have my own show in Vegas. It's on Fremont Street, outdoor billiards. It's a really cool venue. If you hit me up online, it's all on there. LAHNATURNER. But the Vegas show is going to be really cool, and you're coming, right?
I'm coming, yes. I
Oh
will
my
be
gosh,
there.
it's going to be so much fun. I have a lot of people coming from out
What
of town.
night is that? A Friday, Saturday?
It's a Thursday night.
It's a Thursday
which,
night.
in Vegas is a great night.
It's a great night, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, oh my gosh, thank you.
I'm there, baby.
All right, man. Thanks for having us.
All right.
It's great to
So
be back.
there you have it. I am Steve Kimbrough, the PodBrother. There's me, freeze frame, and that's okay. You can hear my voice. And you can see my profile because I'm looking over at Lahna going, how can I get this girl naked?
Oh no.
You can find me at podbrother.com and go to Facebook, stick with the PodBrother. Go to Instagram as PodBrother, and that's it, man. Thanks a lot for hanging and chilling. And on behalf of Al, Lahna, and CJ, we are out like a baby's head.
Bye.
Thank
Nice.
you.